If you're a neurodivergent woman who has spent years scraping yourself off the floor, chances are everyone has told you the same thing. You're exhausted because you are masking. And they aren't wrong, but they are only telling you half the story. What if I told you that burnout isn't just psychological? What if I told you that new science shows your neurodivergent brain is like a Ferrari engine inside a clapped out Ford? And your battery isn't just running low, it is fundamentally failing to hold a charge. We need to start talking about your mitochondria because your burnout isn't a mood, it is a metabolic collapse. And let's talk about how to fix it. Hi, I'm Hannah Anstey. I'm a coach and consultant for neurodivergent women, helping you to recover from burnout and fatigue and gain more energy in your daily life. I'm soon to be a qualified metabolic health coach. After spending years battling chronic fatigue syndrome and burnout, going from needing a walking stick to now kayaking and dancing, I realised that we cannot heal our batteries using neurotypical strategies. Now, I use the science of metabolic health to help women like us repair our energy systems without the overwhelming bro science or ice baths. Welcome to the new way to heal. Why neurodivergent burnout is a metabolic issue and not just a masking problem. Dear fellow neurodivergent woman, I have a confession to make. For years, whenever a fellow neurodivergent woman came to me, completely shattered, scraping herself off the floor, unable to function, deep in the throes of burnout, I would nod and say, it's the masking, it's the exhaustion of trying to fit into a neurotypical world. And I wasn't wrong. Masking is exhausting. We know the psychological toll of suppressing who we are, manually regulating our tone of voice and forcing eye contact and all the rest of it. But recently, I've gone down a rabbit hole of research that has completely changed my life and my view of exhaustion. I've realised that blaming masking is only telling half the story. It explains the software, but it completely ignores the hardware. The more I dig into the science, the more I realise our batteries aren't just running low because we're using them too much. They are fundamentally struggling to hold a charge. This is the new science of mitochondrial dysfunction in the neurodivergent brain. And once you understand it, you stop blaming yourself and you start healing your biology. Let me nerd out for just a moment because this changes everything. The Ferrari brain in a clapped out Ford. To understand why we crash so hard, we have to look at the energy demands of the brain. The average human brain is an energy hog. It weighs about 2% of your body mass, but consumes 20% of your body's total energy. It is very expensive to run. Now, consider the neurodivergent brain. Whether you are autistic, ADHD, or the combination of both, like me, your brain is a hyperconnector. Studies suggest that neurodivergent brains have more synaptic connections and higher neural noise. We are processing everything. The hum of the fridge, the texture of our clothes, the micro expression on a colleague's face, and the 3 different songs playing in our heads simultaneously. While a neurotypical brain creates efficiency by filtering out irrelevant data, our brains are left to let it all in. We are running a high-performance gaming PC with 4,000 tabs open. This means our baseline energy requirement isn't just standard, it is massive. We don't just need some energy, we need a surplus just to reach a baseline of functioning. And where does that energy come from? The mitochondria. Meet your tiny, overwhelmed power plants. You probably remember from school, or maybe not, that mitochondria are the powerhouses of the cell. They take fuel, glucose and fats, and oxygen, and they churn out ATP, energy. But here is the piece of the science that nobody told us and is the key to understanding neurodivergent fatigue. Mitochondria are not just power plants. They are environmental sensors. Their job is to scan the environment and ask, is it safe? When the environment is safe, they pump out energy. They help your brain focus, your muscles move, and your digestion flow. But, and this is the critical part, when they sense a threat, they stop making energy and switch into defense mode. This is a biological state known as the cell danger response, CDR. When the CDR is activated, the mitochondria essentially say, shut down the factory, we're under attack, divert our resources to inflammation and defense. In a neurotypical person, CDR might be triggered by a virus or a physical injury. The threat passes, the mitochondria get the all clear, and energy production resumes. For us, think about what triggers the danger signal to a sensitive nervous system. Sensory overload, loud noises, bright lights, sleep deprivation, common in ADHD, gut inflammation, common in autism, chronic stress, the anxiety of existing, just purely existing in a confusing world. For a neurodivergent woman, life itself can be the danger signal. Just think about that for a moment. Our mitochondria are constantly picking up on the fact that we are overwhelmed. They are receiving a 24/7 signal that the environment is unsafe. So what do? They stay in the cell danger response. They stop producing the ATP, that energy we desperately need for our high demand brains, and instead pump out inflammation. This is why you can sleep for 12 hours and still wake up exhausted. It's not a lack of sleep, it is a lack of cellular energy production. Your factory is on strike. And it's not just in your head, it's in your muscles too. For my entire life, I have struggled with what I now look back on as physical weakness. I could never do the monkey bars when I was a kid. I'm the woman who leans on walls and always sits with my legs crossed up to support me because holding my core is too much effort. And often my limbs feel like they're made of lead. They are so heavy. We can call this low muscle tone, or it is sometimes diagnosed as hypertonia, and it is incredibly prevalent in the neurodivergent community. But why? Muscles, like the brain, are incredibly dense with mitochondria. If your mitochondria are dysfunctional, if they are stuck in defense mode, they cannot fuel sustained muscle contraction. That feeling of heaviness, that gravity feels stronger than me today sensation, that is literally your cells failing to produce the voltage required to hold you up. For 48 years, I thought I was just unfit or lazy. I now know that my muscles were starving, absolutely starving for energy. Let's look at the cycle of oxidative stress. To add insult to injury, when mitochondria are overworked and malfunctioning, they produce exhaust fumes called reactive oxygen species, ROS. This creates oxidative stress. Neurodivergent brains are already prone to higher levels of oxidative stress. It's like a car engine that runs hot. If you don't have enough coolant, antioxidants, and you keep revving the engine with the sensory overload and masking, the engine starts to smoke. This damage further impairs the mitochondria, creating a vicious cycle. So low energy leads to harder to cope with stress, which leads to more stress signals, which leads to mitochondria shutting down further, which leads to even lower energy. This is the biology of burnout. It is a metabolic collapse. I resisted training in metabolic health for a while. I didn't want to be a biohacker. The world of health is full of bros talking about ice baths, intermittent fasting, and rigid diets. For a neurodivergent woman, some of this can be a nightmare. Fasting, no, my ADHD brain panics if it doesn't get dopamine regularly by eating. Ice baths, just absolute no. I would have a meltdown. Rigid tracking, again, it's a no, and this time it's my demand avoidance coming into play. But after healing from chronic fatigue syndrome and recurring burnout by repairing, rebuilding, and recharging my mitochondria, a key feature of metabolic health, I feel a deep responsibility to pass this information on. So many in our community are struggling with energetic challenges that are having a serious impact on the quality of our life, and I want to help change that. So let's look at healing the batteries then, our way, because this is the good news, very, very good and hopeful news. Mitochondria are dynamic. They can change and they can heal. I am living proof of this. I have gone from using a walking stick on the rare days I could get out of bed to kayaking and dancing. I have strength in my muscles for the first time in 48 years. I have brain clarity that I didn't think was possible for somebody with my neurology. But, and this is crucial, we cannot heal our mitochondria using neurotypical strategies. We cannot shock our bodies into health. Our bodies are already in shock. That is the problem. We have to coax ourselves out of the cell danger response. We have to signal safety. This means we need a new approach. And this new approach looks at three things. Number one, fuel. Stabilizing blood sugar so the brain has a steady supply of energy, stopping the roller coaster that triggers anxiety. Number two, nutrients. Flooding the body with the specific minerals that our hot engines burn through faster than other people. Number three, nervous system regulation, not just relaxing, but actively toning the vagus nerve to tell the mitochondria the war is over, you can start making energy again. Mitochondria is the new black. I will soon be a qualified mitochondria coach specifically for neurodivergent women, because we deserve this knowledge. We deserve to know that our exhaustion isn't a character flaw. We deserve to know that our burnout is real, biological and deep in our cells. And most importantly, we deserve to know that we can heal it. We don't have to live with flat batteries forever. We can repair the machinery. We can get the power back. If you've ever felt like you're dragging a concrete body through the world while your brain spins at 100 miles an hour, please hit subscribe and join the community. I'm going to teach you exactly how to charge back up without the ice baths. Thank you so much for listening.